You want to be in the aliveness, the richness, the complexity of being a human being whilst being equanimous, loving, compassionate, joyful, like in awakened state, like all of this with the complexity of being like complex thinking. That's where we want to go, right? Not pushing shit away.
I've just been working nonstop 18 hours a week, and most of the work I realize it's not even like the actual productive work. Most of the work is like I need to work because I'm building this. So I'm in that grind mindset, right? So which is of course it's not healthy, but I can't just get out of it. And then I realized, oh, it's so fun to not work and just be chill, but at the same time, I also can't be resorting to these things to let myself break away from this work cycle and just enjoy. These things can sort of become an escape for me, and I don't want that.
Yeah, finding that underlying positive intention is super important. What's the real reasoning behind it, right? And is this something that certain parts of you have to make you do in order to get you to relax a little bit?
Yeah.
If that's the case, it's time to start listening.
Yeah.
Longer term, you'll get burnout and you won't be able to work almost at all for several months at all. So total volume of work will go down over time, even if you're maximizing volume per week right now.
Yeah.
You know, human beings are complex and we have a complex set of needs. We have a lot of needs. We can't just ignore some of them. It comes back in other forms. Usually, drug-related forms is a very common thing where it comes back when we are ignoring needs.
But like this work thing has been on my mind like nonstop. Can't think about it. It's stressful, but it's also fun in a way, which confuses me. Like it's fun solving these problems. And like because it's like the initial days and some things are working, some things are not working out.
Mhm.
But like I have like big ambitions with this thing.
Yeah.
So anytime I do, whatever I do is like never enough. Like, okay, I got it. Cool. Now what's the next thing? So in a way, I'm not even enjoying the little wins.
Yeah, you have to learn how to celebrate the small wins, otherwise you will get burnout.
Yeah.
It's just a non-negotiable. If you're in business, you have to celebrate even the smallest ones.
Yeah.
It does not make you complacent. People are scared, like, oh, I'll become complacent. No, it's fun to celebrate. So let's now get to the next time that I get to celebrate. Celebrate does not mean that you've said, like, oh, I'm done now. Like, no one said that. It just means you celebrate that you got to this milestone, right? If you're climbing Mount Everest, if you get to base camp, I'd celebrate. But it doesn't mean like just because you celebrated getting to base camp, now you're gonna go back down. You're just gonna start living there. You're still gonna get to the next milestone, up the
Yeah.
summit, right?
But you know what? Like in my head, like the base camp is not even the milestone. Like my in my head, like the summit is the milestone,
Yeah,
and like the base camp is just the path. So like
yeah.
I
So
need
what you have to do is you have to sit down and look at what more milestones are, and you have to accept them on a deep level. So you need to do actual shadow work around it, right? Because you can probably think of it right now, but you won't feel it. Like
yeah.
you need to do deep work on it and find out what are things to celebrate on a day-to-day basis. That also because you're in a leadership position, the way you think of things will trickle down. And now everyone that works for you will just start to feel drained because they don't have the core drive that you have because you're the founder. So they don't have that. You have that to lean on. That keeps you working despite not celebrating. The people that work for you don't have that. So, and because it trickles down that you don't celebrate, so they're not going to be able to fully celebrate. But they don't have that thing because they just fucking work,
Yeah.
right? This is literally how you create torture. Like in concentration camps, they'll have people move all the things from over here to over here, and then move those things back to over here and just go back and forth, just so that there's no actual progress made. Because if they're building a house, they get satisfaction from that. They're just gonna move the pile here, then move the pile back. Just move it back and forth, so it's pointless. So there's no end, there's no horizon to move towards at all, right? That's torture, right? That's what you will create in the culture, and people will still probably even like you still, and they will see that you're smart and you're kind of building something cool or whatever, but they just don't know why. They just feel drained working for you, and
Yeah.
you lose top talent. Top talent will not stick around if you do it like that. You will lose top talent, and because of what you're building, you're going to need top talent to build that thing. So you need to lead in a way that will attract top talent. It's just the way that it is, right? And in order to do that, one thing is you need to be able to celebrate a bit. And and there are personality differences, right? Some people are very big picture. I'm super big picture as well. So for super big picture people, it can be a little bit hard to be like, well, this little detail was fucking finished now. Like, woo, whoop, whoop, like what, right? But you need to develop some of that. It's just I just need to fucking do this shit. I'm gonna figure out how to do it.
I mean, you're absolutely right. Like ever since our last call, like you told me to like I'm operating a lot from my mind and body. I need to like operate with a lot of my heart. And
Yeah,
I've been trying to do that on a daily basis, and I find that it works. Of course, it works. It's like I just wanted you to say it. Like I know that it
yeah,
works,
yeah,
and also it makes me feel good that I'm like slowing down and appreciating for what they are doing and
yeah,
rewarding them, like not with just like like money and equity, but also like with my presence and with my gratitude and all of that.
yeah,
So it's like a nice feedback loop. But in my head, like, okay, I'm not saying that I don't celebrate. Like, if we did something, we'll still go out as team, we'll celebrate, we'll have dinners, we'll have drink. But in my head, I'm not really truly enjoying it.
yeah,
I'm happy that my team is celebrating. I'm really happy for that. But in my head, I'd rather go, like back in the office, like in front of my computer, like still work on something. So that's something I need to somehow do it. Like, and then I was thinking about it the other day. Like I used to be such a fun person, like you just used to be like mostly all 100% fun, like 80-90% fun and like 20-10% like work when I used to work for like these big companies, right? But now that I'm working for myself, I'm working for this business, and I have like this pressure on myself that I need to make it big, just not for myself, but for like everyone around me. Like I
yeah,
if it was just me, like sure, I made it, I did not made it, like it's fine, like doesn't matter, like I still have more chances. But because so many people have put their energy into me, like in terms of their investment of money, investment of their time, employees, so that also adds like a little bit of pressure and like a little bit of impatience, which
yeah,
I'm trying to like, I mean, of course, I do not reflect it on the team, but somehow these things I try to like share these things only to people who are not in that workspace. So like only to my
yeah,
friends. Like I don't really
yeah,
try to show people that I'm stressed at work.
yeah.
And I try to like make sure like even with my body language, I
That's
need to
the
be,
equanimity practice,
yeah.
right? Remain equanimous, and if you can, even remain in a state of warmth and love around them, whilst following the proper business principles. So we're getting the shit done, but it's from this kind of energy.
Yeah.
You gotta inspire a sense of confidence in everyone around you, and that's done by equanimity and a loving kind of warmth. But also, when impatience arises, when you feel pressure, when frustration arises, you got to know also when it's time to channel that into clarity, right? So it's not just like, oh, like this kind of like fiery drive is always wrong. No, no, it's very good. But you got to learn how to channel it into clarity, so it becomes this piercing kind of energy. So we get the fucking thing done, or you get the point across, right? But it's not done with you distorting, generalizing, or deleting information about the person in front of you. So you're projecting. but it's just boom, right? Yeah, but we can talk about that on our next one-on-one call and go a little bit
Oh
deeper on
yeah,
that.
yeah.
Yeah, but so it's part of we talked last time about head, heart, body, like integration, right? When you feel that like frustration, impatience, if you just relax your contraction and you just feel the pure, like here's where we're going, notice your head knows exactly where we're going right now. Notice your heart can get really on fire and your body can get really ready to take massive fucking action. That's how pressure can be channeled into clarity. So it's clarity of head, clarity of heart, clarity of body, massive, like full unification of your entire consciousness to one horizon. That's very precise, right? And when you're like that, people tend to rally around you as well. If the horizon is of benefit for more people and you have the competency to reach it as well, right?
Yeah.
As a leader, you got to have respect. That's people believing in your competency. You got to have trust. They believe that you have a benevolent intention, not just for you, but for them, and ideally the whole world. That's when you become more of a visionary. And then head, heart, body, full integration. Full integrated leader with proper clarity towards a bigger vision, with competency and benevolent intent for you and for them, and ideally for everyone else, right? If you have that, it's just about time catching up.
Yeah. But yeah, sometimes I and it's not usually me. Like in the past, like when I was a kid, I used to be really impatient. Like yes, but in my early 20s, mid 20s, I developed this practice of patience, and deep down, I was really patient. Like that's what happened to me. But now, like in the past couple of months, I would say, like I'm getting impatient. But again, as I said, I do not really try to show that impatience to anyone because I know that it's not good for business. I know it's not good for the other person. I know it just produces a lot of stress in the other person, and when they can't really perform the best. So, and it's not good for me to also like project like this impatience onto everyone. It's just not
Yeah.
good for the environment. But
I think um, yeah. So there's pa patience is one of the six perfections as the Tibetans teach it. I got a pretty serious practice around that patience perfection. I think we should dive into that. There are a
okay,
few things I want you to stabilize first before we go into the perfections, though.
yeah,
Because if you top down patience, it can actually be a way to just suppress a genuine sense of some urgency of actually getting some fucking shit done. It's a little bit like when people come like, hey, I want to have this like I don't want to have neediness, like freedom from outcome. It's like, motherfucker, you're in business. You need an outcome. You need to drive a fucking result. Like, if right now you need to be impatient, then be motherfucking impatient. Just don't contract as you're doing it. So it's with clarity. But then later on, this
mm,
is particular practice. There are practices around developing diligence, developing patience, and so, generosity, and so on. These are specific practices with specific protocols. But before we do that, we need Brahma Viharas need to be stabilized.
okay,
Equanimity, loving kindness, like or compassion, etc. Um, in my opinion, also gratitude, forgiveness, vulnerability. And then basically like full tracking of it. Like your attention is super strong because all the Vipassana and etc. background, but like attention, concentration, Brahma Viharas, and then some basic emptiness stuff, and then like wild perfection practice sets you up for like really crushing it if you're doing sales coaching or leadership.
yeah. I mean, yeah, like and when you said about suppression of patients, that also, yeah, I could relate to that because
Yeah.
in the past I found myself like because of this equanimity practice, I found myself suppressing some stuff, which I realized later that I was not really like being equanimous, but I was kind of
That's right.
suppressing it. And it felt
Yes.
like equanimity, but it
Because
was not.
if you're pushing the patients away so you don't feel it anymore, then there's nothing to be equanimous to. It's not an equanimity practice. That's a pushing away practice. Equanimity is, I feel this rush to do this thing right now, and I'm still not contracting my consciousness. I'm allowing it to be, and I'm not reacting to it. That's equanimity. Equanimity is not like, it's like majority of practices people do with meditation, they end up suppressing shit and they go into a state of nothingness. Like, I don't have any thoughts right now. I don't have these emotions. I don't have these impulses. And it's just this blank space of just pure awareness. That's not where you want to be. You want to be in the aliveness, the richness, the complexity of being a human being, whilst being equanimous, loving, compassionate, joyful, grateful, forgiving, vulnerable, seeing emptiness, like in awakened states, like all of this with the complexity of being like complex thinking whilst having all of these states active at the same time. That's where we want to go, right? Not pushing shit away so that it's just like 1 hour, like, because if that's what you're doing, then you don't become very dynamic. Then it's like, I have my practice where I'm in pure awareness, and then I have all the things that like, that's not like, it needs to be integrated, right?
Yeah.
You should be able to be in your most advanced states while doing work on your biggest traumas in an embodied way, which means you got to feel all of those states, like the shame or whatever that comes up, whilst being fully in equanimity. So you got to be able to have both at the same time, which means you cannot be pushing it away. And if you practice, if you right now need to push away a bit, so you get into pure awareness, then you're also not building you're not building vertical complexity. You're not building higher orders of complexity of your consciousness that you can manage, right? Because there's one level of complexity to be like, oh, I can see that I have patience or shame or like whatever, push that away and use full concentration to just be in pure awareness. That's a fairly complex task, but it's a lot more complex to do that while feeling the thing.
Yeah.
And it's even more complex to like even go and embody this now and become the aspect of you that feels the shame whilst holding those states without getting lost in. There's even more complex. So you have an unfolding, a sequential unfolding of hierarchical levels of complexity of what we can do with consciousness. And so proper state practice creates hierarchical, increasing orders of magnitude of complexity, which is why it has such a direct impact on your leadership skills. Because being able to take more and more complexities into account at the same time while leading makes you a more effective leader.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I need to like get better at those things. Like,
Yeah, but you're doing great when it comes to that, it sounds like. So you'll get it. You're also, in the middle of a fucking startup, so it's a little bit of suppressing and bypassing right now is probably to be expected, and it doesn't even have to be all that wrong to do a bit of it. Let's just bypassing in moderation, I think is good. A little bit of bypassing will be happening as you're running a fucking startup. Like, come on, like you're running a tech startup. Bypass a bit. You just need to. But let's just not go too crazy about it.